Hello, we are going to start the third lesson in our linear functions unit. Today we are going to learn how to rewrite equations. That way once we rewrite them, we would be able to graph them. So let's just look at this throwback question. It says, the formula ax plus by equals c represents the equation of a line in standard form. Write the equation as y equals in terms of a, b, c, and x. Alright, let me first circle my y so I understand what I'm trying to get by itself. So if I'm trying to get that y by itself, it's connected to that by. So first I should get rid of the ax. That ax is positive, so I'm going to subtract it. I'm going to subtract ax from both sides. That would leave me with by equals c minus ax. I can't actually subtract c minus ax because I don't know what those values are, so I'm just going to write it as c minus ax. Now, they want me to get this in terms of y equals, meaning I need to get rid of that b. That b is being multiplied by y, so to get rid of it, I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide. And I am left with y equals c minus ax over b. The only other way that you can see this written is you can see it written as y equals c over b minus ax over b, if they separate both of them. Both of these are fully correct. What you did is you got your equation to be y equals, and on the other side you have the a, b, c, and x. Alright, that is basically what we are going to do today. Today we are going to see linear functions that are going to be in what we call standard form, and we're going to learn how to rearrange them so they are in slope-intercept form. If you remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We want it in y equals mx plus b form. That way the m tells us our slope and the b tells us our y-intercept, and then we can graph the way that we learned last time. Alright, so how are we going to rearrange equations so they are y equals? To write an equation in slope-intercept form, you need to isolate the y. What does that mean? That means you need to get the y by itself so it's the only thing on that side. By using inverse operations, you're going to start by getting the constant, which is the plain number, and the x term on one side, and y on the other side. You would do this by adding or subtracting. Then you're going to divide by whatever number is being multiplied by y. That way you get y alone. So in order to do this, I made a little graphic organizer so we can go through the steps. Alright, step 1. Circle the y, okay, and draw a vertical line through the equal sign. So let me write that here. X plus y equals 15. Okay, step 2. If there is a term on the same side as y, this is the side of y and there is a term, there's an x on the same side, add or subtract it from both sides. Well, that's a positive x, so I'm going to have to subtract x. And when I do that, I get y equals 15. I'm going to write 15 minus x. Next step, divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y, unless the coefficient is 1. Remember, coefficient is the number in front of y. Well, the number in front of y here would just be 1. It's imaginary, so I actually don't have to do this step. I don't have to do this step. Alright, step 4. Separate the terms divided by the y's old coefficient. We didn't have to do any dividing, so that step is not needed. And now, lastly, step 5. Simplify the terms if possible. I don't need to simplify them, but arrange the terms so they are in the form y equals mx plus b. Mine doesn't look like that, so I need to change it so the x comes first, negative x, and that's a positive 15. And this would be my final answer. Now, if we needed to graph this, we would need to say what our m is. M is the number in front of x, so it would be negative 1. And b is the constant, the number alone, so that would be 15. This would mean that on my graph, I would start up at 15, and then I would go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, and I would keep going. Alright, let's look at the next question. So, step 1, we are going to circle the y, and we are going to draw a line through the equal sign. Then, step 2 says, if there is a term on the same side as the y term, add or subtract it from both sides. Well, y is actually by itself on the side. There's nothing with y. There's nothing being added or subtracted to y, so I don't need to do this step. Okay, step 3. Divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y. Coefficient of y means the number right next to y, the number that's being multiplied by y, so I need to divide by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. Okay? Step 4. Separate the terms divided by the old y's constant. What does this mean? This means that we're going to have y equals, separate into two different things. Negative 1x divided by 2 minus 8 divided by 2. And then step 5, simplify the terms if possible. So y equals negative 1 over 2 is just going to stay negative 1 over 2. Can't simplify that x. And then negative 8 divided by 2 is going to become negative 4. And we need to arrange to make sure it's in the form y equals mx plus b, which it is here. So this would be our final equation in slope-intercept form. Now we could easily tell that our slope is negative 1/2, and we could tell that our y-intercept is negative 4. Alright, nice job. I want you guys to pause the video and try this one, see what your current understanding of this is. Step 1, circle the y and draw a vertical line through the equal sign. Okay, now, if there is a term on the same side as y, add or subtract it from both sides. There's no term on the same side, there's no constant there, there's no x there. We're good with that part, so we don't have to do that step. Step 3, divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y. So that's whatever number is in front of y. Oh, here I actually have a negative 1, so I will have to divide by that. So let me do that now. I'm going to divide by negative 1. I'm going to divide by negative 1. So I would get y. So on the next step, let's do the next step. The next step is for us to separate the terms divided by the old y's coefficient. So I'll have y equals 16 divided by negative 1 plus 3x divided by negative 1. And in step 5, simplify the terms if possible. Arrange the terms so they are in the form y equals mx plus b. So I'll get y equals 16 divided by negative 1 is negative 16. And then 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3x. And last step, arrange the terms so they are in the form y equals mx plus b. So I'm just going to have to put this negative 3x first, minus 16. And that would be our final step. So negative 3x would be our m, and negative 16 would be our b. M is our slope, b is our y-intercept. Let's try another one. Circle the y and draw an x through the equal sign, a line through the equal sign. Alright, step 2, if there is a term on the same side as y, add or subtract them. There is, I got this 5x that I need to get rid of. So it's a positive 5x, so I'm going to subtract 5x. I'm going to subtract 5x. So I will have negative 3y on this side. I cannot do 6 minus 5x because they are not like terms. They do not both have a y. So I'm going to write it with the x first because I know that's how the form goes. Negative 5x plus 6. Alright, so this is my current equation. Negative 3y equals negative 5x plus 6. Step 3 says to divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y. So the number that's in front of y that's being multiplied, divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3. And then step 4, separate the terms by dividing by the old y's coefficient. Okay, so I would just have y equals negative 5 over 3x plus 6 divided by negative 3. And now let's simplify. Y equals Negative 5 over 3 isn't going to simplify, but 5 divided by negative 3 is going to become negative 2. And this is already in slope-intercept form, so we are good. Our slope would be negative 5 over 3, and our y-intercept would be negative 2. Alright, let's look at this one. Circle the y just so I'm aware of where my y is, and draw a line. Oh, I have something on the same side. This is on the same side, so I'm going to have to move it over. So to move this 8x to the other side, it's a positive 8x, so I'm going to have to subtract 8x. Subtract 8x. Then I get 2y equals. I want to write this in correct form, so I write the 8 first, 8x. That's a plus 1. So I'll have 2y equals negative 8x plus 1. Then we're going to divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y, so the number in front of y that's being multiplied. We're going to divide it by 2, divide it by 2. So then we would get y equals negative 8x divided by 2 plus 1 divided by 2. And now we simplify the terms if possible. Y equals negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Bring the x. And 1/2 is just 1/2. The negative 4 would be our m, and the 1/2 would be our b. Alright, you should actually pause the video and try this on your own. Let's just identify where our y is, and let's make sure we understand what one side is and what the other side is. Step 2, if there are terms on the same side, add or subtract that term to get the y to be the only thing. So I want to get rid of that negative 5x, so I'm going to add 5x. I'm going to add 5x. That would leave me with negative 9y is equal to. I cannot do 45 plus 5x because they are not like terms. I'm going to write my x first, so I'm going to write 5x plus 45. Then divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y. Well, here my coefficient is negative 9, so I'm going to have to divide both things by negative 9. I'll be left with y equals 5 divided by negative 9x plus 45 divided by negative 9. And now I'm going to simplify the terms if possible. So y equals 5 divided by negative 9 is just negative 5 over 9x. And 45 divided by negative 9 is negative 5. And this is in slope-intercept form. Good job. Alright, let's look at the next one. We are going to draw our line so we know which is the left and the right side, and then circle our y so we know what's there. I can't have that negative 2x on the same side, so I'm going to have to get rid of that. Because it's negative, that means I'm going to have to add it. Add 2x to both sides, add 2x. That would leave me with 3y equals 2x plus 9. I always like to write the x first because I know that's proper form. And now step 3 says divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y. The number being multiplied by y here is 3. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. That will help me get rid of this 3. So then I'll be left with y equals. Now I'm going to separate both things. 2 divided by 3x plus 9 divided by 3. And now I'm going to simplify the terms if possible. 2 divided by 3 doesn't simplify, so just leave that. And 9 divided by 3 becomes 3. And if you remember graphing, this is going to be your m, this is going to be your b. And how are you going to graph this? You are going to start with 3 on the y-intercept, so go to 3. And then this means that you would go up 2, because rise over 1, over 3. Up 2 over 3, or you could go down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. Then you would connect the points, put your arrows, and label it. And let's try this very last one. Let's try this last one. Look at what's on the left and the right side, and we somehow have to get this 8y to be by itself. So to get that 8y to be by itself, I don't like that the 24 is there. So to get rid of the 24, I'm going to subtract 24 from both sides. Subtract 24. That would give me negative 2x minus 24 equals 8y. Then I have to divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y. So divide by 8, divide by 8. I would be left with negative 2 divided by 8x minus 24 divided by 8 equals y, because 8 divided by 8 just cross off. It equals 1, so you could just get rid of it. Alright, now simplify the terms. I know my y is going to have to come first, so I'm going to put y equals. Then negative 2 divided by 8 would just be negative 1 over 4x. Negative 24 divided by 8 would be negative 3. And this would be our final answer. Nice job. Alright, hopefully you understand how to rewrite equations. Our goal is to isolate the y, and we do this by getting the constant and the x term to be on one side, and then divide the equation by the coefficient to get y alone. Nice job.